for me.
Ooh. Okay, done with shit.
What are you eating? I don't see anything in your mouth.
Hello, 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 hello.
Oh, perfect.
Okay.
Can we move this light a little bit further? Is it?
Then make a name for yourself, even if your office and bank balance are far from glamorous. That means expending nothing but pizza. Your expenses look good, and you're looking better than mine. Going up against this guy and pitching your idea 100 times. No. I like it. He likes it, and you definitely love that. Intel QuickBooks helps small businesses be more successful. Payments, payroll, banking, and live bookkeeping.
If it looks like an F-150, toes like an F-150, falls like an F-150, seats like an F-150, and powers like an F-150, it must be an F-150 hybrid. Introducing the all-new 2021 F-150 Power Boost Hybrid with 570-pound-feet of torque and 12,700 pounds of max available towing. Is now a good time for a flare up?
For adults with moderate to severe Crohn's or ulcerative colitis, Stellara can provide relief and is the only approved medication to reduce inflammation on and below the surface of the intestine and UC.
You getting on that flight back off, see?
Stellara may increase the risk of infection, some serious, and cancer. Before treatment, get tested for TB. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, flu-like symptoms, sores, new skin growth, have had cancer, or if you need a vaccine. PRAS, a rare potentially fatal brain condition, may be possible. Some serious allergic reactions and lung inflammation can occur. Lasting remission can start with Stellara. If you've been financially impacted by COVID-19, Janssen may be able to help. Because Bright recipe is never just one ingredient. Introducing Poland Doctor, now at ShopRite and partner retailers. Find fun serenity, Pickleberg, clean and peace. Now at ShopRite and partner retailers.
Travel the city now paying you to visit. Here's Jacob Ward.
Santa Maria, famous for California barbecue, is an affordable weekend near the coast. But crowds disappeared with the pandemic. As restrictions lifted, the town came up with an idea.
It was book a 2-night stay at a participating hotel and we'd give you $100 for a jacket.
$100. You pay people to come. Santa Maria was trying to get the word out.
We're ready to welcome back our visitors.
California's tourism industry tanked in 2020 by $86 billion. But if Santa Maria's experience didn't go by, well, Americans are ready to get out of it. You wouldn't think $100 gift card would make a difference, but it did.
So at 11 o'clock at night one night, my phone started dinging, and all these reservations started rolling in. And I'm thinking, what's going on?
Guests Victor Yellison's wife was spending their $100 on a meal with friends. It's a really bad day. Bill Orsini family has owned a kitchen post for nearly 70 years, but they were forced to close for 5 months. Now customers are back and lingering over dinner for hours. People are crazy to get out right now. Do you think this is a good sign for small towns?
From 2007 through 2012, used his status as president to peddle influence for personal gain and violate state secrecy for political gain.
Right.
Sarkozy knew what he was doing was wrong, the judge wrote. adding that his actions and those of the public magistrate and personal attorney, both of which were also found guilty of aiding in the scheme, have given the public a very bad image of justice. According to the BBC, the former president has been found guilty of trying to bribe a magistrate by offering a prestigious job in Monaco in return for information about a criminal inquiry into his political party. The key evidence came from tapped phone calls going back to 2014. The case centered on conversations which were taped by investigators looking into claims that Sarkozy accepted illicit payments from the L'Oreal heiress Lelaine Bettencourt for his 2007 presidential campaign. The phone line they tapped was a secret number set up in a fictional name, Paul Bismuth, through which Sarkozy communicated with his attorney. Still influential among conservatives, it caps a series of humiliations which continued after his failed 2012 re-election bid. Sarkozy is also the first French former head of state to appear in the dock. He is expected to appeal the ruling. For Headlines with a Voice, this is Nancy Morgan Hart.
Hi, everyone.
Hi. Hello, hello.
Hey. I'm gonna wait for everyone to roll in for a bit. Again. Hey, I was on mute. Hey again. We're just having an entire night together.
No.
New Age event hopping.
I should have took a nap in between.
I know, and it's been a long day.
I wish I would have taken.
How are you, Brenda? Like, what's
I'm okay. How are you?
I'm great. We're so excited to have you on and to have this.
I'm excited to be on. Let's see, it's gonna be fun. Really excited.
Yes.
Okay, let me put my phone away.
I love your hair color.
Oh, thank you.
Super vibrant.
I love your hair.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I always toy with like a color would be fun, but I'm just like, I'm so basic.
So no, I mean, I've been dyeing it the same color for like 25 years. I probably changed the tone, but I always do red because I feel comfortable with red, and I do it myself. And I tried to dye it very, very little. So maybe twice a year.
Well, that's good. I mean, it looks healthy, so you're doing something right. And that's your signature now, the red hair. So
Coconut oil works wonders.
yes.
Whenever you're ready. I think we're good, right?
We'll give it a few more minutes. A lot of the designers will probably watch the recording, and then some usually roll in a few minutes late. Give it a couple more minutes. How are the rest of you guys? Kai, how are you? Kai, how was your office hours with Bloomingdale's?
It was good. I learned a lot. I'll have to share, the feedback, but I learned a lot. I thought it was a great opportunity, and I'm appreciative of that opportunity.
I'm
But
so glad. I'm so glad it went well. We'll have to do a check-in soon so you can
yeah.
hear more.
There's some
Hey,
beautiful.
Tracy.
Hey, how are you? I'm still
Good.
at work, so I'm on camera on another call, but listening here.
Been there. Hi, Candy, how are you?
Hi, how's everyone? Bless you.
Bless you. Hello, welcome.
Glad to see you.
Thank you
Hey,
so much.
no problem. Hey, Elodie, I feel like it's been a minute since I've seen you, Elodie.
Yes, hi. Yes, I'm
Hey.
back. Just been a bit busy, but I'm here to get the knowledge.
It's understandable. We all been busy. Okay, so let's jump in. Thank you guys. Oh wait, hold on. Asia, are you able to give permission to record? Oh wait, I'm in my own account. Okay, hold on. Give me 2 seconds and I'll be right back.
Hello, beautiful ladies. Look at the beautiful faces in here. My God.
Hi, Brenda. How are you doing?
I'm fine. How are you?
Good. It's nice to meet you face to face.
Nice to meet you. I love your hair.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, there we go. Oh, we're already recording. Great. Okay, so let's jump in. Thank you guys so much for coming and for joining. So happy to see your beautiful faces, especially the ones we haven't seen in a minute. So thank you for coming out, or for popping on, I guess I should say. We're so lucky to have the lovely Brenda Polanco on with us tonight. Who is
the lucky one to be here. Thank you.
She's the founder of the Dott NYC. And Brenda, I'm going to let you give a more thorough introduction of yourself, because I want everyone to have the full rundown and all the facts.
I appreciate it. Thank you. So the Dott is a love project. It came from years of working at Mood Fabrics. I used to be the buyer for Mood for many years, 6 years. And just working there and seeing so many of my people. And when I say my people, people that grew up in my neighborhood, people that look like me, come in and not know where to start, not know where to start developing a line or how to order fabrics, or see them working in other designers' office, making the bare minimum and selling their dreams, essentially, and I just got tired of that. And I possess so much knowledge, thank God, due to what I've done in the fashion industry. And finally, one day I just woke up and said, I'm gonna start something that's gonna empower us. I can use all the knowledge I have to educate. The basis of my business is educating people that look like me and don't know. So the Dott started in 2017. I was still working a full-time job and I was doing it just to kind of sustain my income on the side. I would do sourcing for designers on the side. And by 2019, I quit my job and started it full-time. And here we are. So what we do as a company is we help designers essentially start their business. And if they're already in business, we help them grow it. We do all the sourcing, all the production management, pretty much anything. We do it. What you need to start a line, we help you get it, essentially.
Great. And with that being said, seeing as you're, kind of the business dev and production like extraordinaire. What is something that you've noticed a lot of brands struggle with, or something that, you know, just a lot of the challenges that you see over and over and over with new brands?
Time, knowledge, and money.
Okay.
It's with designers, it works two ways. They either think they need a lot of money to start and hold themselves back, or they don't have enough money to start. Knowledge, and when I say knowledge is, I don't expect any designer to come to me knowing everything. I still don't know everything. I'm learning every day as I go along. But you should have a basic understanding of all the aspects of production, meaning you should understand fabric and what each fabric can do, what garments look better with what types of fabrics. You should understand a simple pattern, even if it's just basic. I don't expect you to do it. I can't make a pattern, but at least know how to read it. All these things are necessary so that nobody can ever take advantage of you, so that when things are being made, you know the steps. You know, it's more so to protect yourself than anything else, really, you know, and to protect your ideas. The sourcing, whew, please stop buying at stores. The minute you have a business license, you can officially buy wholesale. I think that's another constraint that I see a lot of designers struggle with. And time, you know, the reality is production, quality production doesn't happen overnight. And you don't want it to. Why would you want your creations to be rushed? You know, so I do think you should give yourself time. It takes a good month to source all your materials and have them shipped to you. Another 4 to 6 weeks to actually produce something of quality. So you want to at least give yourself 3 to 6 months before you launch.
Okay. And then can you go, I want to rewind a little bit. Can you go back to, like, if you're a designer and you have a business license, how do you access those wholesale markets?
So, I mean, start local. There's a lot of local textile vendors. And that's part of what we do. Like, what I like, my vision is not to keep my clients on full time. I want to educate you while I have you, so that when you no longer need me, you have the tools to keep going on your own. You know, so start local. Always start local. We have so much here in New York City. So many wholesale vendors. And then go to textile shows. There's one at Jacob Javits Center every year, Tex World. You have, just do your research. It's really not that hard to find. And if you become friends with people at fabric stores that know, they'll tell you vendors too. You just got to do it on the slide. But, you know, but just
start everything.
But once you have the business license, you can buy wholesale, and you can also order sample yardage, you know, and it saves you so much money that can go into your production.
So is there any other like areas of production where designers tend to drop the ball?
Patterns and having them graded. I can't tell you how many designers don't have a pattern, which is ridiculous. And if they have it, it's not a digitized pattern. They don't have a tech pack. There's always something missing. Tech packs are necessary. You can start a line without the tech pack. Tech pack is probably the most expensive thing to have made. But if you have a good pattern and it's graded, you can start there. So I think that's the biggest thing. It's the patterns and having it graded, and having a clear and concise collection also.
So can you break down for some of our like younger, and when I say young designers, I mean designers who are new to designing, not necessarily like younger, but can you break down like what are all of the costs associated with production? Because we kind of spoke about this the other day, and I was like, okay, wait, so there's, you know, pattern making, there's grading, there's cutting. Like, can you break down every piece? Because I think we often just say production.
With production, what you need to get even to the production stage, right? So you definitely need to have your pattern, your sample. You always want to have a sample of whatever it is you're going to have produced in the long run. So your pattern, graded pattern, your sample. Those are the 3 key things before you step into any factory. And you want to have your fabrics already lined up, because that's the first thing. The factory isn't going to do that for you. You have to have your fabrics already kind of like sorted out and sourced. Once you get into their cost, sampling is a cost. Any sample, a good sample is going to cost you anywhere between $150 to about $500. And that's if it's women's wear. Men's suiting samples are double that amount. Grading patterns usually run between $200 to $300. Grading is $15 per size, between $12 to $15 per size. That's what grading will cost you. Then, what else? I'm forgetting. Pattern, the grading, the tech pack. That's pretty much it. And then your fabrics and the cost of fabrics. Those are the main costs you're going to encounter when you're getting into production. And then after that, it's per piece. You know, if you're doing a small run, 25 pieces per style, per color, you know, your cost will vary in that. The more you produce, the less you pay. The less you produce, the more you pay.
Okay, great. And then, okay, so you kind of answered my next question, which was like, where is the most, like, where does the bulk of the money like end up being spent? Like, there are obviously pieces that are a lot more
I would say your samples and your pattern, not even your production.
Okay.
Your sample and your pattern is the most expensive piece.
So how can a designer really tell like if they are or they aren't ready to even go into production? Like, what is the telltale sign?
The market has changed so much, right? For a designer, whereas before a designer would have orders, you know, they would do, that was the whole point of fashion shows, right? Buyers would go to these shows, place orders, and the designer would produce according to the order that came in, right? Mm-hmm. You can't do that anymore. Even before COVID, the landscape of what we know as retail, it has changed. COVID has permanently changed it, right? So no designer can produce in bulk, and no designer should want to produce in bulk. You know, not anymore. You're going to sit on things. So small runs are the way to go. But how do you fund your small run if you're a startup designer, right? I've tested my current theory over the last clients. I would say my last 2 clients did it this way. And what we did was, give me 1 second because my computer's about to die. So what we did was, what I think all designers should start approaching is, everything is e-commerce based now, right? Start your line, do your samples in whatever colors, sizes, whatever you want to do, shoot it, throw it up, and then do pre-orders for your pre-production so that it funds itself. That's probably the best thing to do in this market. When you're ready for production, how will you know you're ready for production? Depending on the orders that you get from those pre-orders on your website. Big top stores, that's out of the window. As we know it, retail and stores are going to cease to exist as we know it. And even the stores that are currently buying are buying 10 pieces, 20 pieces. They're not buying in hundreds or thousands of pieces anymore. That's done with.
Awesome. We have some questions coming in. So what do you consider a small run? Like, how many garments is that?
200 pieces total, that's a small run. And I mean that 200 pieces amongst various styles and various sizes. So if you have a capsule collection, 5 pieces max, and you decide to produce each piece 2 colors, 10 pieces per color, that's a small run. And that's what's working in your favor. You guys, as crazy as COVID has been, there's been pitfalls in the fashion industry, but one thing I will say from the production side, there's been a lot of benefits because it's forced factories and textile companies to realize we need small designers. So we need to lower our minimums. This is your time to actually hit the ground running. Do it now. Costs have gone down. MQOs, minimum quantity orders, have drastically dropped too. You know, this is the perfect time. Do it. Don't be scared. Let's go. And if you need help, I'm here.
I'm glad we could give that, or I'm glad Brenda could give you that confirmation, Akela, that pre-orders is the way. I think I think it makes a lot of sense.
Is the way. And customers, here's the luxury. Customers are already buying knowing that it's going to take a minute for them to see their piece. You know, so there's no rush, there's no worry essentially, and you're funding it with their own money. Right. So there's no loss. You just have, before you get to the pre-order though, you want to have your factory in order, your fabrics, you want to have everything in place so that when the orders come in, you hit the ground running, you know, and you can meet the deadlines that you promised your clients you would meet.
And in your experience, how quick, I know it varies from, you know, designer to designer and piece to piece, but like how quick is that turnaround time usually with pre-orders?
Press fast, if you have a factory, 4 weeks. And that's press, max 6. But But like I said, I can use two bodies as a perfect example. They completely were pre-ordered for the first 2 weeks of their launch. And it was almost like a countdown. We're gonna cut off pre-orders at this time on this day. And within those 2 weeks, they got close to 500 orders.
Wow.
With the promise that they would get their piece 4 to 6 weeks from the day that they ordered it. And we were able to push through it because the production was already in order, and so was the fabric. So it got done.
Awesome, awesome. We have a bunch of questions coming in, and I'm glad because we didn't have too many questions prepared for this because I know you are a wealth of knowledge, and I know that our designers are going to have so many questions. So
I love questions. This is what I got in this business for. Let's go.
Let's leave ample amount of Q&A time. Let's see, Judith, and if you guys ever want to pop on instead and ask your questions, that works too. But Judith asked, have you experienced virtual sampling as far as doing that and producing afterwards?
Virtual sampling, it sucks. I'm gonna be very honest because I'm a person that likes to feel and touch and experience. But so the last 2 Tex Worlds that my partner and I went to were all virtual, which was terrible for us because we're so used to running through the aisles, touching absolutely everything. But I will say it was faster, so we were way more efficient. And because of the way things are, they're really quick to send you samples. So we left that meeting knowing that we were going to receive about 200 pieces of samples within the next few days, and we got them. And that's the only benefit. It adds to your timeline because, like I said, you want to feel and see how things are going to work. But I have experienced it. It wasn't the best experience, but it's okay. I digress.
Great to hear that perspective. I mean, because we've had so many conversations at this point about virtual, and I think just because of the way the world has been the last year or so, but I think also just generally as a society, we're always moving towards more technology, more digital, more of all of that. So yeah, I think virtual and digital have become a much bigger conversation in fashion recently. So it's interesting to hear the different perspectives on that piece of it.
Right. I think it's also important you want to ask, even if we weren't in the digital world, you always want to ask for a sample live and in color because colors change also. So that's another disadvantage in the digital realm. Colors are never true to when you actually have them in your hand. So that's another disadvantage. But other than that, it was efficient, it was faster. It just worked better when you think about the long term. I just didn't like that I couldn't feel anything.
And that's understandable.
I have a quick question. This is Candy. Hi. It was okay to go ahead and ask Anna?
Yeah, I just wanted to refer back to Kai real quick. You said that you asked it was for production in the US only. Which part were you referring to for that?
So I was talking about the small quantities. Is that how you were saying you can produce 25 units? Is that US based?
That's US based only. And let me reiterate that. It's the best is US based, right? Just because we have control over everything. But there are companies in India, not China. China hasn't caught up yet, but India has caught up in the low minimum. It's not as low as 25 pieces. With India, minimum is 50 pieces per color, per style. Mexico also has low minimums. I was just actually in Mexico visiting a factory, and their minimum is 300 pieces per style, but you can do it of various colors. So it kind of evens out. The good thing about Mexico is it's right across the border. Production is stellar, and we pay no taxes coming into the country. So consider that when producing. Mexico has really good production and no taxes and duties for us.
So right now I'm producing overseas in China. I've actually I've done San Francisco, I've done New York, and now China. And I do my current factory does do minimums of 50.
Mm-hmm.
But the challenge with that is so now with my new collection that's coming out in April, I want to be able to offer in 2 colors, but the minimums are 50 for one color and 50 for the other. It's not like you can spread it across.
Right.
And I don't know that I want to do that with them. So you said Mexico?
Yeah, I can, if you want. Well, I mean, you guys are all going to have my information by the end of this. Please feel free to shoot me an email and I can send you some factories that you can get in contact with in Mexico. I would also consider, I know you're doing China, but have you thought of Cambodia?
I have not.
Yes, so we need to talk because Cambodia might be another good option for you also.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, Alana, I don't want to
You're
hog
fine.
the mic. Okay, but I guess since you said, well, I had another question as well. What are your thoughts on the one-stop shop manufacturers? Because I've done that, and now with this new collection, I'm stepping away from the one-stop shop manufacturers that kind of do development and rating and everything for you.
It depends. I mean, it can work, especially if it's a one-stop shop that has really quality patterns. I think the only time I get a little concerned is with fabrics, because normally when they're a one-stop shop, they have relationship with set vendors and they don't stray away from those vendors. And it's not always in the best interest of the designer. You know, at the end of the day, if you're a designer, you want the best fabrics, you want the best options, you know, so your options are limited when you're dealing in terms of textiles with one-stop shop factories. However, if it's a factory that you have a good relationship with, they should be okay with you kind of sourcing your own fabrics and bringing them to the table, you know, so that's always something to look out for. As far as the pattern, the grading, I mean, if you can do that, do it. It saves you money in the long run when you do use a one-stop shop factory, you know, versus outsourcing everything.
Yeah, I tried it with my first collection, and this time I'm just going directly, like I have different people for different things. I think that is working better for me than the one-stop shop, because when I was running into problems, there was really no one else to go to because it was, they were doing it all essentially before.
Yeah, right. It's like a gift and a curse. It's like, you know, but I have come across some one-stop shop factories that are stellar. And what I did like is that they assigned a person per department. So you weren't always talking to the one same person, but those are very few and far in between, right? If you have the budget and you can do it, outsource everything, because then each individual person is responsible for that said part of the project, you know? But if you can find a factory that I can, again, contact me, and I have so many lists that I can give you.
I'm absolutely going to contact you. And I'll pass the mic now.
Candy, you want to ask your question?
Thank you so much. Hi, Brenda. Thank you for taking time for us. I really appreciate it, and Alana as well. So quickly, I wanted to know about when you spoke earlier about, you know, the lower minimums, and sometimes they may only say you only get one color. What is your experience in the fact of having a lower minimum with different colorways? Like generally, do they say like 2 to 3? And that was the first question. And then I wanted to know about, I'm dealing with a manufacturer right now locally, and it's really odd because in getting quotes from other manufacturers via LA or what have you, they're normally able to give me a quote based on seeing a photo without even seeing my tech tag. And so with this particular manufacturer, they mentioned basically how they work is that they give you the pricing after. So I'm kind of being, you know, going back and forth with them on that. They did sign a non-disclosure agreement for me.
That was going to be my next question.
The
NDA.
They signed everything, my payment terms, my non-disclosure agreement. I have on there about communication, about timelines, etc. So at this point, I'm going back and forth with them in regards to giving me a price for my sample pattern, for the sample and the pattern and production. And so that's one question that I have for you. Also, have you ever experienced that? Because my response to them is like, you know, I understand everybody operates differently. However, me as a business owner and a designer, I need to count up my costs, because just like if you're building a house, you have to count up the cost to see if you can afford it. So those are pretty much my two questions, the colorways and that second question.
So normally with colorways, no matter how low the minimum is, most factories are going to tell you the minimum applies per color, per style. You know, you can find some factories, especially now because a lot of factories locally are out of work. I'm going to be very honest. You'll find factories that'll do 2 pieces, 3 pieces in a colorway. However, that's sampling. So when you're doing sampling, the cost is more expensive than it would be if you're doing production. So just keep that in mind. I can refer you to another person that just came to mind locally for that. As far as your second question, I've never come across a factory that can't look at something and give you a rough estimate. I don't You know, I don't expect them to give you an exact price because you won't know until you start producing the garment, but they should be able to look at something and give you a rough estimate. You know, if they don't, I would kind of steer away, only because what that tells me is that they want to produce the garment and kind of force you to pay for it. You know what I mean? So be wary of that. A real factory that knows what they're doing, they're going to be able to give you a rough estimate just by looking at a picture.
Okay, thank you for that. Confirming that for me. Thank you so much.
Go with your gut. Go with your gut on that.
Okay.
Thank you, Candy. Quick interjection. We're only 25 minutes in and you've already provided more information and insight than all 5 of Rashima's calls today. So with production companies. So we will be
No, that's true.
Information.
Thank you. I love what I do. I really do love the dirty work. Like, that makes me a very happy person. So, and I never stop learning. I like sitting at factories and just observing. Like, I just don't know how to sew, but I'm working on that too, if I'm being honest.
Awesome. Nikayla, do you want to ask your question? You can come on and ask.
Okay, sorry, I'm driving. So I've been having some difficulties finding, I have a custom design for my shapewear and hosiery line, and I've had some difficulties just getting off the ground, finding like a factory that can handle the customization, just because I know the machinery, not all the US factories have it. So I finally found a place that's local in the States, that's trying to handle it. But I guess my question would be, like, I don't even really know if they're kind of experts at it. It was just really hard to find a factory to do it. So we've been kind of working for a long time on like getting it right. How would you go about, you know, like, I've identified factories that I know that can do the work, but they don't want to do the customization. How would I go about just finding and maybe making those factories at ease with like what I want to do or trying to get in? I know that's a long, windy
you said,
question,
just to be clear, you said hosiery, right?
So the product is a shapewear design, but it can also be a control top for hosiery. So kind of similar.
That falls under kind like lingerie, and not every factory can do that. What I kind of want to ask you where you're going locally, but I will save that question for when we have a personal conversation, because there is a company that does specialize in underwear, essentially, here in the city. That's actually really good and has all the tools. When it comes to Spanx or any type of hosiery, that's hard in the States. I'm gonna be very honest. Not a lot of factories do it, and the factories that do have good repertoire that I've seen have quality work are all in LA. There's only one factory here that I would recommend, and it's on 39th Street for the hosiery. Have you thought about, I know you want to do it here, but have you thought about maybe going abroad? Like, that's one thing that I'm like, you might consider Asia. It might not be a bad look.
You know, I have, but I guess my, I have 2 hangups. So I tried to go to Italy and Colombia. And Colombia, you know, they were weary about signing an NDA because I have a patent pending on my design.
Yeah.
And that's where they make it.
Colombia's known for that. They won't sign.
And then, you know, Italy, they just kind of kept pushing me around and just never took it. Like, they just kept promising me, but never actually did anything. And with China, I don't have the resources as far as like, you know, to pick a place that I know will do what I want them to do and also keep it confidential for now.
There's this, so, you know, in the Dominican Republic that I would recommend. The reason for that would be they do everything in-house, including creating the fabric that you would typically need for your garment, right? I would also look into Venezuela because Colombia is the inventor of shapewear, but Venezuela is second up. So I would consider doing that. How do you start looking into abroad? Look up, let me see. I'm gonna write it in the chat. Actually, if you could look it up into Fillery. it's interfiliary is kind of like the and excuse my spelling, I can't see without my glasses, so I might spell it wrong. I'm gonna try to put it as close as possible. Interfiliary is French. It's a trade show for, oh, thank you for my partner, she's the best. Damn, I was totally off with the spelling, let me just tell you that much. I got like the first 5 letters correct. This, and it connects all the factories across the world, really.
Wow.
And they do a trade show. Their trade show just passed, actually. But they do keep their databases open. I would also look into Premier Vision. Write all this down. I'm like a wealth of energy, right? Premier Vision, it's a textile show, but at all these textile shows, you're going to have factories there. Tex World is another big one that happens. That's the one I told you happens twice a year. And they have a section that's for factories, international factories. But Venezuela should be your next bet. California, I know if you want to really stay local, I have a source there, I have one here. And then I would really look into that company in the Dominican Republic. Alana, we need to figure out, I feel like making you like a database book that you can give all these, you know, so they can like have a resource of some sort, a Bible. Yeah, something.
Wow, thank you so much. Yeah, I would love all of that because it's been such a long and hard journey. And I was able to do it by hand and it was great. But now it's like the process of getting it produced has been really difficult. So.
Are you looking to produce a few pieces and just have it waiting and ready for when you launch, or how are you trying to produce? How many people?
I mean, I'm definitely at the phase now where I want the samples and I want to go to production.
Yeah, what's you know who I'm talking about. I'm gonna give you the name of this factory in New York City so you could go there. I'm gonna have her pull it up and then I'm gonna type it in so you could go there. It's specifically for lingerie.
Okay.
They're a little pricey, but at least if you can get your samples through them and then move all your production overseas, trust me, that's probably the best way for what you're doing.
Yeah.
Okay. Yay, I feel good about
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you. This is great. I'm loving this. Judith, you want to ask your question?
Sure. Hi, Brenda.
Hi.
Enjoying this. This is wonderful. I'm sorry you can't see me, bad hair day. But do you know any companies that, like, if I have an African print, that they would take it and make that for me? Yes. Like I have a design, and because my aesthetic is totally African print. So do you know a company that would take I have a design and they would take it and make that fabric for me?
Yes.
And that's sustainable. I'm sorry?
Design to print is one, and Digitex. Digitex is probably the best one. It's on.
Are they reasonable?
They're reasonable. 50 yard. Okay, so again, it goes back to that. The more you print, the more you're having made, the less you're going to spend, and vice versa. With Digitex, there's no minimum, but the less you have made, the more you're going to spend. Their turnaround is 3 to 4 weeks for you to get your print. They print on everything you can think of, they can print on. They're on 37th Street, right across the street from Mood. You should be able to look them up. They are a China-based company. The other company that I mentioned, Design to Print, is based here. But with anything that's based here, it's double the cost.
Okay.
You know, so that's something to consider. There's a bunch of printing places. You can have fabric printing now is like so accessible. It's not even funny. But I would definitely use Digitex. Digitex is really good. I've worked with them in the past. They're awesome.
It's Digitex,
Digitex.
Digitex.
Right, and they're on 37th Street. And with them, you don't have to be, like, let's say you don't have your tax ID, you don't need that. You can just be a regular retail customer and they will service you. And wait till you go up there, you're gonna go crazy. I go crazy every time I go.
Okay, Digitex in Manhattan. Okay.
Yes. And I know there's another place in Brooklyn, but I don't remember the name offhand. I have to look at my.
And you said InDesign was another one, right?
Design to print.
Design to print. Okay. Thank you so much.
Of course. Of course.
Brittany, do you want to go ahead and ask your question?
Okay. Hold on. Where's my lingerie lady? I'm typing it in the chat, the factory for the lingerie. Aha. There you go.
Thank you.
I didn't want to forget. So my business partner just passed it to me and I'm like, yes, this is it. I didn't want to forget. So it's called Senda, Senda Inc.
I know Senda. Okay.
Yeah, they're actually, they're more at lingerie than anything else, but don't say that I said that. It's true. It's true.
Love that. Brittany, you're up. I hope I'm saying the right name. It's coming up as iPhone right now.
Oh, hi, it's Amira. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
I don't know why it's coming up as iPhone and not my name, and I couldn't figure out how to put it, but either way, hello.
Hi.
Thank you so much for being here. The knowledge I've been writing so many notes down just from what you're saying. So I really appreciate you. And my question is, as far as manufacturers for handbags, do you have any in mind that are local to New York City or even LA that I can get done states, in the US?
LA, not New York. No.
LA, not New York?
LA, not New York. And there's so many in LA that you might have to take a trip.
Okay.
Just so you can, I'm a big vibes person. I have to, the energy has to be right in order for us to work together, especially when it's creative, right? And design, your designs are a part of your creation, a part of you, so you want it to feel right. But LA has a lot of good handbag manufacturers. It's Italy would be my first choice, but LA is definitely it's up there, top 5 in New York City, and less expensive.
Okay.
I would have, I can't think of a name, I'm sorry. I can't think of a name off the top of my head, but I will promise you, if you give me 24 hours, I will send something to Alana so Alana can make sure she gets it to you for the handbag. And then you also, when it comes to handbags particularly, you want to find a manufacturing company that can source your leathers.
Okay.
That can
I talked to different manufacturers where they were going to just have me provide them with, what I've been using since I actually make the bags myself now. But the problem is I'm trying to get away from doing it myself.
Right.
But yeah, that's a good point. I will definitely keep that in mind as far as for future.
And if they can't source it, that is willing to build a relationship with whoever you find to source, the materials for you.
Okay.
Just girl, I got you. I'll send some information to Alana tomorrow.
Thanks so much.
I'm gonna make it easy for you.
Thank you.
And I'll throw in the one from here. I just want you to be conscious that from here, it's going to be double the price that you would pay. And if you want to think outside of the States, girl, Argentina for handbags.
Never thought of Argentina.
Argentina for handbags, for shoes. I'm trying to think of some other places besides Italy and the UK. I'll send Alana another list on that too. Alana, I'm just adding things to your plates. I'm sorry.
It's fine. This is super helpful. We love this. Okay, so Amira, any other questions?
No, thank you so much. I really appreciate you.
Of course. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you guys. This is my first time doing this, so this is good for me.
It is. So everything is get your adrenaline going. Marquise, you're up.
Hi, Brenda. Thank you so much for all the information.
Oh, thank you.
So I'm doing 2 projects for my brand. My first question is, I want to do a polo type of collection and stuff like that. But I'm having the hardest time finding a really good PK knit and a matching baby rib. I went to Zentex and Philip Boyan and those different places, but they don't have anything that's really accessible. So I'm just trying to really find something that's good with low minimums and I can get multiple colors out of and everything like that.
Zentex is, I love Zentex, but not for good PK. Absolutely not.
Right.
what's the one on 35th? Vogel? There's Vogel if you're trying to be in New York. Best PK cotton, Africa. Listen to me when I tell you. That is the best cotton. If you can't meet minimums, I'm gonna teach you a way to kind of like cheat, right? Because your problem is you want various colors. And when you various colors, you gotta buy 50 yards of each color, and you're not gonna use that, right? So,
I've heard 100, so yeah.
That's fine. Find a company. I'll figure out a way to get this information to you guys, right? But find a cotton company in Africa. The majority of the time, African-based cotton companies are gonna ask you for 100-yard to 200-yard minimum. Order it in white. And then when it gets here, cut it apart. 25 yards in this color, 25 yards in this color. And you just saved yourself a ton of money.
Gotcha. Would you go to Dianetics for that on like 30? Isn't it on?
There's a dyeing place here that's pretty expensive, but there's a dyeing place in New Jersey that's half the cost.
Okay.
Everything is research, guys. The information is out there for you guys. You just gotta know where to look.
Thank you. Wait, do they have also the baby knit that matches it, like the baby rib knit?
But anything cotton based, you definitely want to go to Africa with. I'm telling you, they have the best cotton. Or you want to find a vendor that gets their cotton from Africa. And it shouldn't be, if you're buying 100 yards, you're looking at, on the expensive end, $8 a yard, but on the cheap end for 100, you're looking at $2.50 a yard wholesale.
Okay.
Just have your refill certificate and your tax ID in order. That saves you guys a lot of money, and it comes in handy.
Yeah, thank you.
Of course, anytime.
Tracy has a really great question. She says, with services like Digitex and other custom fabric printers, how can we protect our custom prints and patterns so that they can't be used by anyone else?
So most reputable design companies are gonna have you sign an NDA. And the NDA, don't sign it just because they're giving it to you. Make sure you read it. That should go without saying. And that their NDA should protect you as well as them. But if you don't feel safe, have them sign your own NDA. You know, that's the only thing that could really ensure. It's a risk when you're having other companies print your designs. That's the risk that you're taking. You really don't know what's gonna happen, but an NDA does protect you back when it comes to situations like that. But it's a risk. I don't know what to tell you, unless you're gonna buy the printer yourself, and that's not a bad investment. It's not a bad investment, but it's a $400,000 machine.
Well, just give me a couple weeks. I'm gonna save it up, and
I mean, it'll pay for itself in like 2 months.
True. I can imagine. So Brittany, do you want to come on? You have like a pretty detailed question.
Yes, thank you, Alana. Hi, I'm Brittany. I am the mom of a 6-year-old fashion designer. I just had a couple of questions. One being that I actually specialize in pattern making, and I also do the samples for her garments. So does that lower the budget of manufacturing costs, or do you have to get the patterns from someone else? And
that saved you a lot of money. If you have your pattern, do you grade them as well?
Yes.
Honey, girl, you know how many people wish they could do that? No, that actually helps you in the long run, you know, because you're coming in with the most costly piece of what you need. So no, that shouldn't even, and any factory that tells you that they have to make the pattern and the grading for you is lying.
Okay, I never yet, which brings me to my second question. I was afraid that when you outsource for manufacturing, it changes the quality of your clothing. Because for you to sew, you know, you put, you know, you're all into it and your passion, and you make sure that everything is aligned the way you want it. If manufacturer will change the quality of it.
It depends on the manufacturer. Now, will you come across some factories that are just gonna, you know, and it's essentially an assembly line? Yes. However, there are factories that really take their craft very seriously and take their name very seriously. So they will produce your garment to the T the way you ask them to produce it. Is it gonna cost a little more? Probably, but is it worth it? Yes.
Right, because as of right now, I'm like literally making 5 garments of each size. So it's, I have a partner, of course, but it's just 2 of us. So it's like 5 of each, because I'm fearing that, you know, I will change the quality of everything once I start reaching out.
Now, as you grow, I mean, your other option, you don't have to outsource this. Your other option is, as your company grows, start hiring seamstresses and have your own little sewing room. You know, but once you incorporate that, now you really want to build a tight timeline.
Right.
Because when you start bringing in more people, that's more work and more time to control. So you just want to have a strict timeline. These garments are, what I would even do is, and I learned this with a very well-known client of mine, I won't use any name, but she's all over the place right now. And she has her own sewing room. And we got to a place where it became a little bit of a hassle to keep things organized. So what we ended up doing was dedicating days to each garment. So today we're just going to focus on shirts. Tomorrow we're just going to focus on pants, you know, so that we can move accordingly. Only if you don't feel safe outsourcing, you know, and it sounds to me like you don't need to. I think you would be okay running your own little sewing room.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much.
Of course.
You're acquiring more and more fans the more that you speak. So can you share a little bit about your services that you offer?
Sure. So my biggest strong suit is sourcing. I love getting in there and finding what you guys need. I like proving to myself that I can find anything. I am the Google for fashion. Seriously. And if I don't find it, I will find it, trust me. So sourcing is our biggest thing. And when I say sourcing, across the board, we source the fabrics, the materials, the factories, your pattern maker, whatever you're lacking, we source it for you. And then production management. If you want us to run your production, and when I mean we get the factory and we're in there, up in their behinds, making sure everything is being done right, so that all you have to focus on is creating. So those are the services that we offer. There are little other things that I can say we can do. We know how to create a sizing chart. We like little things that we know, but we don't mention those unless they ask.
Do you do like consulting? Anyone you just do like straight up consulting for?
Yes, I love consulting. Please bring me an idea and let's run with it. Especially if I can work with people that are clear on their visions, and that's I love bringing people's visions to life. It's beautiful to watch. So I take joy in that. So yes, I am glad to consult in any way. Absolutely.
Awesome. We're gonna share your information like right after this call. So
thank you.
Your inbox will be buzzing tonight. Elodie, do you want to ask your question?
Hi, well, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
This may be a stupid question, but I'm just gonna ask it anyway. So when you work with a one-stop shop, do you own the patterns? Can we own the patterns?
Can you only make patterns with a one-stop shop?
Can you own them?
Yeah, own them.
Own your patterns? Oh no, what you pay for is yours.
Okay.
Oh no, what you pay for is yours. And this is a suggestion for everybody here. When you sit down with a pattern maker, before you have them create your pattern, have them sign a non-disclosure agreement. You know, period. Make sure that any communications that you are exchanging with this person are via email and text. Those things are timestamped. You know what I'm saying? You want to have proof of everything. You know, if you can avoid verbal communication, avoid that. Everything in writing. Protect your stuff. You know, protect your garments. But no, if it's a pattern and you paid for it, it is yours. It belongs to you, and don't let anybody tell you otherwise.
Okay, and now, let's just say, let's just say that I make the pattern and I grade it and I sent it to the factory and they have to make some adjustments, maybe 3 adjustments along the way. Do I still own the pattern or?
No, it's still your pattern. It's still your pattern. Yeah, yeah. So when they make adjustments, they don't make the adjustments to adjust it so that it's now theirs. They don't take ownership. They make the adjustments to make it easier for yields so that, you know, you don't, for production purposes, right? Okay. We all know what yields are, right? I felt like I just said something and I saw a couple of faces go left. But yeah, no, those are your patterns. As long as you paid for them, they're yours, period. Okay. But the NDA does help. Carry NDAs with you everywhere. Seriously.
Thank you.
In your back pocket at all times.
On your phone, a digital copy. Listen, DocuSign. Right. If you don't have it in person, have them DocuSign it. Yes, those are your best friends.
Absolutely. So we have a little bit more time for a couple more questions. Anyone else want to jump on?
Oh, this was fun.
I know. I'm
really charged now. I'm excited. I like being in a room full of creatives. This is fun.
And I have to say, like, you know, Brand had one conversation with you and immediate was like, well, we need to have her on Designers Row, because it's like you are constantly just giving so much value and so much, like, so many insights. It's ridiculous. So thank you so much for like coming on and for really just pouring into everyone here, because I'm sure there are designers here who have been searching for these answers for a long time. And there are questions here that I've heard designers ask that I've heard them ask before. So I feel like tonight, a lot of people got real answers.
So you explained in a nutshell why I wanted to do this, because I want to be able to educate, you know, in whatever little way I can. Absolutely. So thank you for that. You made me feel really good, Alana. That made me very happy.
I'm glad. You deserve to feel that way because you're doing it. You are doing it. Anyone else have any other questions? This is like a once in a lifetime opportunity, guys.
Hi, Alana. I do have a question. This is Mengi and Coley.
Hey, Mengi.
Hi, Brenda. Alana is so correct and true. This is a wealth of information. I'm so grateful. I have 2.5 pages of notes already, so I'm grateful. Wow. 8.5 by 11 notebook. So Brenda, earlier, like in the beginning of the seminar, you said regarding patterns, that designers should have a clear and concise collection. I just wonder if you could elaborate on that a little bit more. Like, what does it mean, clear and concise collection?
Know what your collection is to you, right? And I can't tell you how often I sit with designers that I want to be a designer. Well, what do you want to make? I want to make a jacket and this and this, and it's like 40 different pieces. And realistically, you can't make everything. You can't. I mean, we can, but can we really? Right. So when I say have a clear and concise idea of your collection, like how many pieces is it? You know, how many colors are you going to do per piece? What is your size range? What sizes are you looking to incorporate into your collection? You know, who wears your collection? Who's your woman? Who are you dressing? That is, when I sit down with designers, those are my questions. When you think of your customer, who's your customer? Who's your competition? You know, go out there and see what's going to set you apart from everybody else. You know, how could you be different? What do you want to make better? So that's what I mean by having a clear and concise. Your collection could be 30 pieces, but as long as they're 30 clean pieces, we're good. And you always want to make it cohesive. I hate seeing shows that have short shorts and then a coat coming down the runway. It's like, where's this going? Okay. Have your color palette, have, you know, the basics down. Just know what your vision is. Nobody's gonna tell you what your vision is better than you are.
Gotcha. Totally didn't know all of that, so thank you so much. I got it.
You're welcome.
Okay. Candy, do you want to ask your question?
Yes, thank you. I wanted to know, because I'm locally in the Bay Area, Oakland, San Francisco area. Do you know of any, it's really slim pickings though out here, of some good manufacturers locally? Because mostly right now my designs are like knit. And the one that I spoke of earlier, they're actually in Oakland, but do you know some other ones out here?
In San Fran, I feel like there might be one. in San Francisco, but the bulk is in LA. LA
Yeah.
is your place, especially for, you're doing knits?
Yeah, mostly right now my focus is on knits.
Yeah, that's a very unique place. You know, it's a good niche, but it's a beautiful niche nonetheless. I would have to look. I have to look at what I have. Not in San
Okay, thank you.
Oh, there is one in San Francisco. I'm sorry. Like my partner and I are like having side chats, going through our Rolodex mentally, right? So again, something that I will share. Alana's gonna share my information. All these questions, please feel free to send them to me. I don't mind sharing. I am a firm believer, sharing is caring, right? You pay it forward and things come back to you. So I don't mind giving information at all, wherever I can help. San Francisco, if email me, let me know, put it in the subject line, San Francisco knitwear, and I will respond with a factory.
Thank you so much.
Of course.
Awesome. Anyone else want to pop in?
So Brenda, this is Kai. I don't have a question, but I did send you an email so we can set up a meeting.
Yes, sure. I'll answer you as soon as I'm done.
I just dropped your Brenda's email in the chat, everyone. So we'll send it in Mighty Networks after too, but just so you can have it here if you want to grab it.
And I will say, I do want to coordinate, like I want to turn this into a class. I do, and I will work on that, I promise. And as soon as I do, I will gladly share that information. But this shows me that there definitely needs to be a class that people can sit through.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And we're so thankful to have had you.
Thank you.
I'm not sure if we have room for like one more question, but we definitely want to be respectful of your time. Last chance, anyone?
I have a quick question. Hi, I'm Rashima. So I was the one constantly asking you about working with you in the chat. So how many clients do you take on at a time?
I take everybody.
Okay.
So that's because I don't sleep. I like to work. I do take everybody. My partner's really good. My partner's like, can you come here? She's sitting here. I keep referring to her, right? So this is Ashley, guys. This is Ashley. So she is literally my twin in every way, shape, or form. What I know, she knows. What I don't know, she doesn't know either, but we work on figuring it out together. You know, so we take on pretty much anybody that comes our way. I don't turn down any work at all. So
well, you'll be hearing from me.
Good, I hope so. I want your skin routine too. So that's
right. Yes. Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Brenda. Like this, I always expect things to be good, and then like I get on and I'm like way more blown away than I was expecting. It's like I already knew I was gonna be blown away because I've had a conversation with you, but wow, getting to see like your full breadth of knowledge and getting to see like just the way you're ping-ponging these questions is amazing. So thank you so much for coming on. We're so lucky to have had this opportunity. And I hope all of you guys reach out to Brenda. I'm sure most of you will, and take advantage because, honey.
Thank you. Thank you guys for listening, for having me. I am so blessed. You guys have blessed my day. Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Thank you. Questions.
Yeah, thank you guys for dropping your lovely messages in the chat. And yeah, if you have any other questions, you can let me know, or I dropped Brenda's email in the chat if you want to email her directly, or if you feel more comfortable going through us, it's whatever. But yeah, let us know. Thank you guys so much for coming out. This was amazing. And yeah, have a great night, everyone. Brenda, you have an amazing night.
Good night.
And bye-bye.
Bye.
Hi, everyone.
Bye.